What's going on, everybody? Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com, always accompanied by Juan Dominguez. Juan and Joe, the J&J team, your friends in training program success. I want to talk to you today about, Joe, what do I put in the secondary flight plan, brother man? What do I put in the secondary flight plan? Obviously here I'm talking about a 320, okay? What do I put in the secondary flight plan? Okay, now look, it depends. Am I departing or am I arriving? Okay, if I'm departing, okay, what I would be placing in the secondary flight plan is the return back into the origin. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, what do you mean the return back into the origin, right? So here's the thing. Let's say, hypothetically, you take off, okay, something happens and you got to return back to the original point of departure. What I would like to have in the secondary flight plan is the longest runway that has an approach available to it that I can make an approach back into on a moment's notice. What I would like to do is select heading, activate secondary, manage nav, right? Maybe that came out a little bit fast, but that would be the verbiage, okay? Select heading, activate secondary, and if I happen to have a line immediately that I can track back to the runway that I'd managed the nav. Okay, so in the secondary flight plan on departure, what I would like to have is the immediate return back to the original point of departure to ensure that I can get back in on a moment's notice. Okay, and by the way, when you're doing your briefings and you're talking about weather, one of the things I'm looking for in the weather when I say, okay, this is the weather for this point of departure, the number one thing I'm concerned of is, can I get back in here if I need to get back in here? That's really what I want to know, right? Am I legal to take off? Am I legal to come back in on an approach? Period. All right, now next part. What if it's on an arrival? Okay, no, Joe, it's not for departure, it's for arrival. All right, cool. All right, let's address that one right now. Let's say you're coming in for an approach and you're going to load the secondary flight plan. What do you put there? Okay, well, what I would put there is one of two things. Either the parallel runway or a runway that I know could potentially be the runway of approach later on if they change it on us, right? Which maybe it is a parallel. So the short answer is another runway that has potential to be your approach runway if last minute they change it on you, right? Which, by the way, if you saw a video we posted last week, we're not a big fan of changing runways at the last minute. This is more for when I'm doing my top of descent planning. I got to do my briefing, got to load up my approach and all that, right? So I'm going to load the approach. In the primary one, what I really think is going to happen, right? My true runway that I think I'm going to land on. And in the secondary, I may place an additional runway that maybe if the plan A doesn't work out, maybe I'll go to plan B.
Hey Joe, one question. Can I put the alternate?
Yeah, you can put the alternate. Okay, we got Juan up here in the studio. What's going on? JJ team, we in the house. Live in the 305. If you are in Miami, Florida, come in and check out Joe Munoz, Juan Dominguez, your friends in training program success. We're right here to answer all your questions. So Juan, brother Jay, man, let me answer his questions. Can I put the alternate? Of course. Hey, with that, let me tell you this. You can put whatever you want, okay? Maybe you're flying in Miami, doing a trip up to Atlanta, and I want to put Beijing, China in my secondary flight plan, okay? You can put whatever you want up in there, brother and sister. But, as Juan said, maybe the alternate is a good plan, right? In the secondary, I'll put the alternate. Or maybe I'll put another approach that maybe I'm expecting, okay? You can put whatever you want, but ask yourself a question, okay? What would be the most pertinent runway to put there? What would be the most immediate need for me to have that secondary flight plan?